What is an administrator role? Let's talk about that. What do you think, a future administrator here, what do you think that the administrator role is in a campus or a district level?
Is to be a leader.
Be a leader. Be that person that leads from the front. And you want people to, you want to show them what you can do as far as being a leader and what the right and wrong, well, you don't want to teach them the wrong way, but being right in a certain situation, just making sure that you are a server. This is what I found out being about a principal. It was totally different being in the Army for 25 years and being an NCO. There wasn't the officer, but I like to work in those situations, I like to get my hands dirty. And being in there, I found out that it was no difference. Being the role model or being actually a administrator role, being that role model, making sure that those kiddos are safe, making sure that you're doing the right things, making sure that you're a janitor, you're a counselor, you're checking on the teachers like your soldiers, you're checking on them. Are they okay today? Is there a change in a student? Not only you doing that, you're putting out fires left and right, talking to parents. And as a superintendent, if something happens, I want to know what's going on in my campuses. I want to know what's happening in my district because I don't want to get blindsided. That's the worst thing in the world as a administrator is somebody coming up to you, you get a phone call and then you go, hey, did you hear about that situation? What situation? It's no different than being in law enforcement or in the corporate world. Oh, you mean I lost $35 million? How? What? You got to report those things immediately. Okay, next slide. A concept of leadership. Could you read that for me, sir?
At the core of most definitions of leadership are two functions: providing direction and exercising influence.
Okay, so how does those two relate? Or how does that, could you give me examples of those?
Providing directions is just, I guess providing directions is just being like, here's a lesson plan, this is how you do it, whereas exercising influence is showing how to do that type of situation. It's more, I want to say more doing and showing that you know how to do it, whereas providing direction is giving directions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This one right here is critical. Every teacher that I've run across, every campus that I've been on, as an administrator or even a teacher, I wanted direction. Even in the military, I wanted direction. I wanted to know, what do you want me to do? Where do you need me to be? Because if I have that, I know that I'm going to be okay. But I'm going to be on time. I'm going to be 15 minutes early. I just need that direction. Providing that direction, okay, what do you expect of me? What do you have me? What do you want me to do? How do you want me to handle that situation? What do you want me to do in the class? Now, that's your classroom, but I can give you direction. Exercise and influence, I'm going to want to make sure that they know they can count on me. They can come to me. I'm approachable. I want to be out there. I want to be visible. I want to be that influential leader that, I can give, point, look, hear, fix, turn out fires. I can do those things. I love it. The best thing in the world is staying busy all day. That's me. I love to do that. And as a superintendent, I want to do the same thing. I want to make sure that my campuses, my principals are taking charge and they're leading and they're influencing other teachers and students to do the best they can, right and wrong. Doesn't matter. Here we go. Providing direction and exercising influence begins with culture. Your culture is your brand. What do we expect in that classroom? What do we expect in that district? What do we expect the best? How do we get that blue ribbon? How do we get that knowing that our crime rate in law enforcement is going down, our crime is going down rather than expanding? Now, we already said at the beginning of this presentation that we're up how many? 27% on our problems that we're having with inappropriate behavior. That's not the direction we want to be going. And that's not the direction we need to be going. We need to have a culture that is apparent. I mean, it is transparent across the board. This is what I expect. This is how we're going to increase. That's how we're going to bring more students in. That's how we're going to pass that star. That's how we're going to have that TEA coming in and going, bam, you got another blue ribbon because you're doing the right things. You're doing the right things on the street. You're getting those things, those crime rates down. You're pulling those people over that are breaking the law. That's how you're going to continue to see, hey, Canyon, Texas has the best across the board police department ever because they're doing what they're supposed to. Canyon ISD is on top of it because they're meeting that standard. They're mastering that standard. That's what you want as a superintendent or as a campus principal. Hey, I have a standard here and we're going to abide by it. But I'm going to tell you how to do it and we're going to do it together. All right, next. Does your talk match your walk? It better. It better match it, because if you can't talk the talk and walk the walk, then you're in the wrong business. Whether you're out there and you're saying, I'm going to be the strict, I don't even know if that's a word, the stricter, the best.
Most strict?
Most strict, there you go. The most strict police officer out there, you're setting a standard. People know that they go, oh, there's Officer Vela. There he is. I'm slowing down. Or they walk into your classroom and they go, Mr. Vela is not going to have it today on Wednesday. Nope, we're going to have that test today because that's what he expects. That's what he needs. That's what his expectations are. Am I in the room? Am I sitting down? And the bell rings? Is that where it's happening? As a superintendent, that's the same thing I want to make sure. Are my principals there before every teacher gets to work? Are they leaving after the last teacher leaves? You have to be that leader. You have to love it. You have to want it. You have to be there at every single second, minute. I don't care what it is, day or night, you have to be on call. You are that janitor. You are that counselor. You are that person that takes out the fires and talks to those parents and makes sure things are getting done. Doesn't matter, principal, superintendent. Prevention works. I guarantee you it works. If you mitigate these things and put everything in line, even on a safety aspect or anything else, these things are going to happen and they're going to work out for you. But how do we do it? Do I make the decision all by myself? No, I don't. Because I need you. Because I need to collaborate with each and every one of you. I need to collaborate. We need to talk about it. We're going to say, what do we need? Because you're in the trenches. My teachers are in the trenches. And I'm going to get their information from them as a principal. As a superintendent, I'm going to make sure that those principals come and talk to me. And let's get this together because you know what? I need you. I need your input. You're out there in your campuses every day. Now I walk through and I do my thing, but I'm also, making sure that this district is running right. And we have the budget and we have everything we need to make students learn and have the best campuses in the state of Texas. All right. Go ahead, keep going. Practicing, implementing policy and practice. What about policy? Have you heard that word before? Absolutely, yeah. Policy. What? Tell me about on the law enforcement side about policy.
Each department has their own policies. My department right now, we have a 600-page policy book that we have to go through and read because we have a policy for everything that we do, from traffic stops to how we interact with people to how we clean our equipment and stuff. So everything has policies.
And then you put it into a practice, right?
Yeah,
into procedures. Yeah, right. How about on the education side? What do you think about that?
There's policies and practices that you read in the handbook for the school and for the district, and then the ones that you implement in your classroom.
Absolutely. We have those classroom procedures, those policies that we have. I have policies of mine that I have in our teacher or our employee handbook. The district has policies, board policy. Board policy, we have to make sure that it is voted upon and the board looks at it. We got to make sure that everything is copacetic within the situations that we have. What is it? Is it to make things harder or is it to make things more difficult? What are policies and practice going to do? Look at the teaching staff here. Familiarize yourself with all the policies. Why are they asking you to do that? Why are they asking you to do that? Know all your district and campus expectations. Why? Why is it? Why do you have to know your side on the Canyon PD? Why do you have to know that policy and procedure?
To know how to implement it and what the best practices are.
Right. What about the education side? What are we looking at that? Policy and procedure or practices. And then we know all the district policy. It's important for me. If I'm a superintendent, I want to make sure I understand everything because I can hold those people accountable. I can hold those people accountable, make sure they're doing the right thing, because it's going to fall on me, like it will in your campus, like it will in your squad car. It's going to make sure that those things are there. But also, we're looking at something else. At the beginning of this presentation, we talked about two things. What were they? The prevention and what else was it? Prevention and to stop things, to mitigate them. So that was prevention, and there was something else. Do you remember? If you're preventing something, you also have to do something else. We'll get to that in a minute. But knowing all the district campus expectations, you have to know policy. Read it. Live by it. Because if you do, it will save you. Next. Okay, look at that. Prevention practices. Coaching and training. We got to do that to develop a staff understanding. Every staff member has to understand that. Receive training, build upon those building appropriate relations. Relations, how do we use social media? Professionalism, how do we talk to those students, teachers, parents, district campus ethical expectations, and then recognizing inappropriate relations and reporting them to administration as soon as you see it. As soon as you see it. Because if I don't, let's say I see something and I go, I don't know. I don't know, maybe, I'll let it go. Then you walk off. And then what happens? It happens. Now we're at 28%, 29%, rising up even more because we didn't report it. We didn't do those things. We were already talking about policy. I'm already going to be transparent with you. I'm already going to be the superintendent tells my principals to go, hey, you know what? Make sure you do that every year. Make sure you tell them, if you see it, say something. I don't care if it's the smallest thing, because we're going to stop it right then and there. We're not going to let this thing escalate. So we're going to make sure that we're doing those things, whether we see it on social media. And how do I present myself on social media as an officer or a teacher? Do I have a beer in my hand? Am I smoking a cigarette? Am I at a party and in the background you see kids back there because I want to be their friend? I'm telling you, you're going to be like this, walking out the door. And then you're going to be with somebody else for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. All right, next slide. Prevention practices, practicing, developing understanding. We're doing the same thing. Teacher side, the campus has their developing and understanding and teaching them. Then we come back over here, receiving training, effect on inappropriate relations. Oh, this is always an interesting thing. We always say it, slippery slope. That was that. Do I see it? Do I know it? Am I putting myself in that situation? I'm talking to that student. I gave her a full-on hug. That's a slippery slope, man. I'm telling you. And those things are going to happen. Grooming students. What does that mean? Am I grooming them? Does that mean that I get to buy them a hamburger at the game? Am I? Oh, are you cold? You're at a track meet? Wait, hey, take my jacket. Is that appropriate? She should have brought her own stuff. I'm gonna stay warm. I'm gonna stay warm. I'd love to give you my jacket, but I've got 100 other students out here, safeguarding students and teachers, grooming students, and that's something that you really need to take a look at as far as safeguarding them with students and teachers. Yes, we have to do that. We got to make sure those things are in place. Next slide. Again, put it under control. Can you go back to that? Put it in place. Practice interval control, avoid inappropriate behavior. And how do we do that? I'm transparent with you. I'm telling you. I'm having those professional development meetings that are in service, and I'm telling you, hey, this is what we have to do. You're going to have to go over that class again. I know you did it already 18 years in a row because you've been here that long, but you're going to do it again. Because I'm going to make sure that you sign that paperwork to say, I told you not to do that. I told you not to give that student a hug that way. Because now the parents want to know why you're hugging her that way. Or why did you give her your jacket? Why'd you buy her that hamburger? Why'd you buy her that expensive birthday gift? You go back to grooming. So participate in routine audits. What is that? How do we do that? Practicing those.
I know for law enforcement, we have checks every so often. So let's just say it's a policy on one thing that's really big in law enforcement is racial profiling. We do audits all the time where upper management will take our body cams and they'll go through a few of the videos to see what's going on.
Oh yeah, that body cam when it came out, everybody hated it, but now it's saving you. I think it saves you. What about us in the educational field? How do we participate in routine audit?
Just the trainings and in-service things.
Trainings, in-service days, administrator side. I'm gonna walk in. I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna give you those trainings. I'm gonna make sure you're doing it. Hey, how's it going today? I walked in on the, practices, games, wherever it's at. Definitely practices. After school, I'm making myself visible. I'm making sure that I'm on it, writing, documenting, and then teach us comes in. Hey, we're doing these right. We're doing the things we need to, whether it's on practicing inappropriate behaviors or we're doing something else. I want to know how your professionalism is going on. All right, next slide. Building ethical culture. Transparency, openness, and communication. Those are the key words that I heard those administrators talk about. So transparency, I'm not hiding anything. Everything will be on the table. Everything will be there for you to see, black and white. There's no gray area. In my opinion, I don't want gray area because there's too much interpretation. Openness and communication, that is key. If you see something, say something. If you have a problem, if you don't know, and you're reading the policy and the procedures and all these things in the handbook, and you still don't understand, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell you. I'll communicate with you. I'll make sure that you understand everything. And if you don't, ask me. I'm always here. I'm here as a superintendent doing that same thing to my principals. Doing the same thing, talking to them. Hey, do you understand what your job is? Do you understand what your mission? We got to make sure that mission is there and we're exceeding those expectations and doing the things we do because we have that transparency, we have that openness. My door is always open and I'm communicating with you. All right, next slide. Acknowledge that exploitation exists. It does exist. It does exist. My next door neighbor, crime investigator, he works in Lubbock. He said the first time, I know I should have said that. The first time he told me, I'm not going to give his name because it could be anybody. The first time I met him, the first time he had changed his job as a DPS officer, he said I had 17 cases the first day. 17! Holy smoke, 17 cases. So these things happen and they're out there. But how are we doing that? Be aware of bias. Pay attention. I think this is key, crucial. Pay attention and educate parents and students on appropriate behavior. Why are we doing that with parents? Why are we educating parents? Why is it necessary? Why are we educating the community? Why is it necessary?
So they better understand our policies, procedures, so they're aware of what the practices that we're taking to help them.
Something that we just newly implemented on 4th Avenue in front of the college, or on the back of the college.
Traffic safety crossing, because so many people were just walking across the street. Now we have a traffic direction thing, so it's easier.
Right, so we had to educate the community, right? Send something out, making sure they understand what the yellow light means, the blinking light red, and then full red. Is that correct?
Correct.
So those are things that we look at and we're mitigating any possibility that a student's gonna get hit by a car. And why did we do that? Because one did. A student got hit. During a rainy day, but nevertheless, if we had those lights, if we had something to mitigate and to keep that from having the prevention, then we could have said, she was a minor injury, but nevertheless she got hit by a car. So how do we do that on the education side? Educate parents. Why is that important? Why is the educating parents so important? Why do they need to be?
To be involved with the students.
Yeah, be involved with students, but also to be involved in our campuses and our district. Those parents are that's our clientele. I mean, the students are, but the parents are important. We got to keep them in line. We got to make sure that they understand. They get the information out there. What are we doing so they can feel a little bit safer and more? How do I say this? They agree with us more. They trust us more. They trust us to make sure that they are getting that information, and they go, "Oh, we didn't know that. We didn't know that. So this is what that means. So this is what they were talking about about appropriate and inappropriate behavior. All right, next slide. And we're going to recap on this really quick. We're gonna practice. We're gonna familiarize yourself with all the policies and practices because it is crucial. You got to know what your policies and procedures are and everything there is. As a superintendent, board policy, and I got to know your policy. I got to know all those things because this is my whole baby right here. All these 5 campuses, 4 campuses, whatever it is, and some places there's like 70 campuses. So there's big, there's little, and then but you got to know everything. Or try to. But you all can always familiar yourself by going back and reading those policy procedures when those things happen. Receiving training, I think that's important during in-service days. Now, you still have those bloodborne pathogens, the ethics training. Man, there's so many, but it's there. And they're doing it because they have to take themselves responsible to give those information to you, and those administrators are actually coming out and doing it and saying, like this class right here. This is straight from this right here, TEA. That's straight from TEA. Did I do it? No, ma'am, I didn't put it together. But I went ahead and made sure that this information is out and I can do it. And I can see it. And I see it all the time. And I've already been through this training. But that is it. That's what they're giving us, or the administrators to do it. You know, because you were one. And so this is what they're doing. So receiving that training, being transparent, being open, communicate, that to me is all, that's what it's all about. Is being open, communicating, and beware of the bias. What does that mean? Because we just go over it really quick. Even in a regular classroom and district. What is that? Beware of the bias. What is that?
Everyone has biases. We are going to have certain type of biases. Just you got to be aware of your biases towards whatever it is, and know that you're aware of them so you don't act on them. Because if you act on a bias, then it becomes a prejudice. So as long as you know what your biases are, you can mitigate yourself from acting.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's even with being a old coach and administrator, then I'm more biased to the athletes than I am to the other band members. Drama, ag, art, Spanish, CTE, all of the other classes. So no, yeah, you got to be straight across the board. Know who the students are. Don't be caught into that. Pay attention to detail. Pay attention. Doesn't say detail, but I wish it would. Pay attention, and then educate parents and students. Very crucial. The utmost importance. So they understand that they trust us, and they know that we're taking care of these guys. That we're taking care of those guys. You have any questions over those right here? Anybody? Come on, hit me with them. Okay, think about it. Key questions?
How often do you think some type of like this type of training should be implemented? Is it something you just do yearly, bi-yearly, a couple times a year?
I think that once that number started going up for the 27%, which was lower at the time, then it started becoming a yearly deal. So every year, no matter whether you had it or not, you're going to take it. You're going to get that information. You're going to make sure that it's out there and that you have that certificate in hand saying, I got it for the 25-26 school year that's coming up. So right now, the school year is ending, but administrators and superintendents, everybody are gearing up for the next year. Hey, do we have those things ready? Do we have them? Are they up to date? Are they going? Okay, good. I'll ask you again in June, definitely in July, and then here we go, August. Let's get it going. What else?
I think another big question I have is so I've always thought taking students' phones away is a good idea because that's one of those mitigating factors that you can take away so you can mitigate the interaction between teachers and students having their phones in classrooms and everything. And so they're not, one, it helps better the students' learning environment. Two, it helps them so they don't have direct, can go up to a teacher and be like, oh, look what I have on my phone and all that type of stuff. I think, but with phones being such a big part of our lives now, and that's the biggest way to communicate with parents, especially like emergencies or something like that. How as teachers, how do you keep that interaction by still removing the phones?
Yeah, I think that each district will have their own policy, but I agree with you. The policy that was at my last school, we picked them up everywhere. Now, high school, we gave them a little bit of leniency, but they were able to, we didn't take it from them, but we were telling them, all right, as soon as you walk into the door in your classroom, put it in that little slot. And then they put it there. Now, that was on the honor system. Hopefully we didn't catch them, but if we did, then they had to pay for it because it's going in the office. But the phone itself is becoming a weapon. It becomes a situation where I'll give you a quick example, and I've been doing this for almost 20 years now. So this is what the situation is with one teacher. She was taking medication, and the medication kept kicking in on her, and it was something she had to take. I mean, during the day, first thing in the morning. It couldn't be at night. I don't know why, but I know that she was always falling asleep. So I would go in and make sure that she was staying awake. Well, students already had their phones out, and they're taking pictures of her, and they're saying, "Oh Lord, oh my gosh!" They put it on Facebook, they put it on Instagram, they put it on Snapchat or whatever those social media things are, and they're putting it out there. So this teacher, yeah, she got raked over the coals by parents, but they didn't know what was going on. Now I took her, and when I found out that she was doing that, I said, "Hey, go ahead and go home, get out of here, get some rest. We'll talk about it tomorrow." I don't need her to be wondering what we're going to talk about. It was more of a go home, because the worst thing you can do is say, "Now we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Do you understand? Now get home." And the reason for that is because now they ain't getting no rest. They're not going to get any sleep. So there's ways of being open and preventive and all these other things that we're talking about. But those phones are really, really tough. Got to keep them away. Anything else? Anything else? Anything on that side?
I was just thinking that I wonder why they don't issue out cell phones to teachers that would state, well, have some way. I know that they have the app. Obviously, I've never used the app in a high school setting. It's always been used in elementary setting to talk to parents, where the parent can communicate with the teacher through the app.
I know that's something we have in law enforcement, is we have a company phone that we're issued that it can be monitored at all times, so that way if we have to talk to a citizen, if we have to talk to whoever it may be, upper management, chief, lieutenants, whatever, they can see what's going on in that phone. So it's a good way to know what's happening.
That's what I was getting at, is some way they can monitor, because obviously the school shouldn't be monitoring my personal phone. That's for me, but they can monitor a phone they own.
Yeah, and I think it's more like if we gave every teacher a phone, which would be nice, but I mean, you look at budgeting issues and legal issues, and can I give them that phone? What if they do something illegal on the phone or whatever? I don't know. There's just so many situations that you can, scenarios that you can run into on those things. But yeah, there's definitely. I know that we communicate with parents through a mass broadcasting, and we broadcast out there for late starts, bad weather, closings, events that are happening. But that's the thing, they can't come back to us with that. And so that's something that, and it probably is now, but we have to look at those new technology that comes out and see what we can do that, and plus, again, there you go. Looking at things, I've already signed up a 5-year contract with this company to get the broadcasting out, the mass media type thing, so they can understand. And then you kind of wonder, okay, I can't get that now. So you run into those situations. But yeah, that's good. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Well, I really hoped. Can we go to the next? Is there anything else? So, what is our campus doing to prevent the inappropriate behavior? That is a key question. And then there are anything else that we could do to prevent inappropriate behavior. We'll go to this first one right now. We talked a lot about that, to prevent it, to mitigate those things. That's being transparent, being open, the training, training parents, training students, training staff members just getting it out there, teaching them and those strategies of culture, climate, all these things roll up into one. Kind of doing okay. How do we have that? How do we mitigate those circumstances? How do we prevent them? How do we do that? And we need to put it out there. And these classes are yearly, so that's how you put that together and making sure that they get the training that they deserve or they need to help keeping that together. But this is very important. So we talked a little bit about this, and we talked about that communication part of it. But what is there? Is there anything else that we could do to prevent inappropriate behavior? Now, we looked at all these things. We looked at different strategies. We talked. We saw the video and the scenario with the administrators. But what else? If you could think of one thing right now to prevent it, those inappropriate behaviors, what would it be? What do you think? Could there be something on the student side?
Maybe training students about what inappropriate behavior looks like with teachers.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
I mean,
I think it's a big possibility. Yeah.
we're talking about grooming. I mean, a lot of people who've been groomed said that they didn't realize that that's what was happening. But if they can pick up on key signs of what's going on.
That's so tough because it could even better. Now, how many times? Now that's just a thing I'm saying is about how many times. But do you think that some things are happening now where a student knows what they're doing, but I don't like you because you took away my phone. You didn't let me go on the school trip. So you touched me.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You did that. Why? I mean, I know one student at another school, because I've been doing this for a long time, that says, what is the fastest way I can get a teacher fired? I said, this conversation's over. You need to go to class. But then I could not believe that they were asking me that question. Because it happens. So how many of that 27% that's still going up are false allegations? I don't know. Investigations. So preventing those inappropriate behaviors, I agree. There's so many things that we could do. And the best thing to do is just have those round tables, I guess you would say, and then start collaborating in a group, like they have a safety committee. They got triple SP meetings. Why not inappropriate behaviors? How do we keep those from happening? What things can we do? What things can we keep from those numbers going up? Next slide. Intervention. Okay. So once the investigation has occurred and has it been determined that inappropriate behavior has occurred, that's what we're just talking about. The investigations are in there. Did it really happen? Did we investigate enough? Did the police get involved? Did the FBI get involved? Texas Rangers get involved? I've seen all those entities get involved. So what can we do? Respond immediately. Action should be taken immediately to stop behavior that was reported or observed. Act now. You have to act now. Got to make those things stop. If you see it, say something. Because remember that one thing I said, nah, I think that's happening, but I'm not sure. I'll let it go. Could that come back on me later? Absolutely it can. Because I didn't see it. I mean, I saw it. But what about Mr. Martinez over there? Did he see it? Or Coach Hill, did he see it? He might have. Expectations should be clear, concise, and written, and leave no room for misunderstanding. Expectations. So, where do those things have to be clear and concise? Where do they have to be? In your documentation, correct? Your documentation, your writing, leaving no room for misunderstanding. Expectations need to be clear. Clear from the top down and all the way in between, everywhere else. I want to make sure, as an administrator, I am telling you exactly, I'm going to lead you. I'm going to lead you because, God forbid, it happens. I love my job. I love my freedom. And I'm not going to jail. Although I really did like you. But you're going to jail. So those are things you need to make sure it's happening. Expectations. Next. Consequences just ahead. Consequences to continue the borderline behavior should be clear, concise, and in writing. That's that documentation we're talking about, clarifying the consequences. It's there. You do something wrong, there's going to be something that's happening to you. You get fired. I've seen it already. You go to jail. You get your name on the registry list. All these things go on, and then who pays for it? Do you pay for it? Yeah, well, you're going to pay for it by time, but your family has to deal with this every day. So you got to make sure that that's understood. The employee and in the situation should be monitored closely. Intervention. So monitoring closely. What are they talking about that right there? What are they discussing? What does this mean? Who are we monitoring?
Teachers.
Right? The employee and the situation should be monitored closely. So if I saw it and I said something, now my radar is on. Now I'm watching it. So the thing that I said over here by maybe, yeah, okay. Dr. Vela, that ain't right. Okay? Thank you for reporting that. I need a statement from you. Okay? Write that, have it on my desk in about 20 minutes or in 30 minutes. Yeah, I'll give you now. So I make sure that I'm monitoring that. It's been reported to me, so it's kind of like I shifted the responsibility to you. So now I'm monitoring closely. The employee and situation should be monitored closely. Got to make sure it's going on. It says principal, but it could be superintendent. Okay, what is this one? Somebody read that for me, please.
Formal conferences and informal observations should continue to ensure the behavior does not occur again.
Yep, you got to follow up. It's like anything else. You served in the military, right? So if you had something going on and you gave an evaluation to one of your students, you gave them an NCOR, and they came up to you and they didn't do very well, but you gave them recommendations on how to fix it, how to do all those things. So does it stop there? No, you follow up. You always follow up. You always make sure that those things are happening, those strategies are in place, because we want people to be successful. So I'm going to make sure that those formal conferences, informal observations should continue, because I don't want it to happen, and I'm going to make sure it's not going to happen on my watch. Me as an administrator, me as a superintendent, me as a principal, doesn't matter. I'm just going to follow up. You got to, because if you don't, it's on you. Next. To intervene or not to intervene? All right, let's go to that first one. Teacher has lunch with her student alone in his and her classroom. Do you intervene or you're not?
Yes.
Teacher has lunch with a student alone in his or her classroom.
You intervene.
Why?
Because the student teacher shouldn't be alone.
Shouldn't be alone. That's that slippery slope I was talking about. Okay, what about the next one?
No, because if it's interaction between all the students.
Teacher gives all students candy and reward for their good behavior. No, man, that's her deal. Miss McGillicuddy just gave him a candy bar, one of those little bitty ones like Hershey's or what are those little ones that I always eat? Those Snickers. So yeah, I think that's okay. That's okay. I wouldn't do it every time. Well, I guess you can do it, and just gotta be careful with those peanuts because somebody has gotta worry about those allergies and everything. Okay, teacher provides a ride home to an individual student. Intervene. That's a given, man. I'm telling you. Back when I was in school in the 80s, coaches used to give me a ride home all the time. It was just one of those things. Get in the back. I'm gonna drive you home. But anyway, you can't do that because it's not appropriate. Not appropriate. Teacher is touchy-feely with a student. Oh Lord. Intervene. How do I do that? Give me an example. How do I correct that? If I see it, what do I do? Do I check it on the spot? Do I get after it right there and then?
Have a conference with the teacher.
Have a conference with the teacher. Make sure you bring it up. Hey, Coach, you can't do that, man. Don't ever do that again. Do I tell the parents?
Maybe not
I,
yet.
I don't know. I'd tell the administrator.
Tell the administrator. Let the administrator handle it. But you make sure that teacher goes, okay, we saw it. Yeah, we reported it, but let the administrator take care of that. Select group of male students meet at female teacher's home for tutoring. Sorry.
Intervene.
What do you think?
Intervene.
Intervene. Why? Why does that intervene?
Because opposite sex
Not just that, you shouldn't have
students,
Students
at
at
home.
home.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, that's a no-no. That's definitely a no-no. So we got to intervene. And then if I find out, that's not good. That's not good. Yeah, we're gonna have a talk. All right. Would you read that one for me, sir?
teacher meets a student at Barnes and Noble for coffee to talk.
Intervene.
Shouldn't be alone with student.
That shouldn't be alone, even out in public, right? So, hey, but we were just there for a cup. We didn't do anything. We were in a public place. What's he doing? Grooming. He's grooming him. Man, you're on top of it. All right, teacher sends a text to remind students of a test following a day in violation of school policy. So, what do we do here? Intervene? Don't intervene. Teacher sends a text.
I don't think a teacher should be sending the text. Yeah, because it's in violation of school policy.
In violation of school policy. That's the big thing right there. In violation of school policy. I'm telling you, don't have those students' numbers. There's email parents, do whatever, but stay away from those students' numbers. That's the thing that you have to remind yourself. And coaches, because I was coach, I never did, but they have their kids' numbers all over there. And I always tell, hey, why do you have those students' numbers on there? They go, because that way I can text them and tell them that they got to be at practice at a certain time. There's a different way to do that. Get rid of those numbers. I'm doing you a favor. Get rid of them now. You got to let me know that you got rid of them. I'm documenting this, by the way, because I'm going to cover myself. Teacher meets with an individual student in a locked classroom.
No.
Intervene. That's already, man. Oh, Lord have mercy. And that does happen, by the way. That happens a lot. All right. Next slide. Everyone's responsibility. If you see it, say something. Say something. Say something. You know, this is it wasn't Sandy Hook. I had a training in that on the safety side. They say the same thing. If you see it, say something. See it, say something. You got to say something. You got to say something, because if you see it and don't be that guy. I'll let it go. Because it's going to come back to you. You see it, you better say it. Say something in a hurry. Next one. Performance task. Let's see. What is it? Reflection. All right. I think we're almost to the end. So we're going to reflect a little bit on this. You tell me. We're not going to have an assessment. We're not going to do any testing or anything like that. But I do want to know one thing from one of you. Actually, both of you. What stuck in your mind about this presentation? What was the biggest thing that you stuck? We'll start with you, Officer Will.
Just got to be aware of how you're interacting with people, and especially teachers and stuff, and you be aware how they should be interacting with students. There's certain things you need to be avoiding.
Okay, good. How about you, sir?
Just see something, say something.
See something, say something? Okay. What if you didn't see on the first slide there, on the last slide, see something, say something? What brought out, what was kind of stuck in your head going, I remember something like that. I remember that happened.
Oh, just coaches with students' numbers on their phone.
Right?
Making sure you don't have that. It seems, at the time, it doesn't seem like it's probably a big deal, but you shouldn't have student numbers in your phone.
Exactly. Because it's a liability. I mean, you have kids' numbers on your phone, and something happens, and then I take your phone because Officer Martinez wants it, and they're doing an investigation, and you got all that stuff, and they're going, man, you got all your kids' numbers on here.
Well, and it breaks boundary, because if a student has your phone number and struggling one day because of something happening,
Mhm.
and they may reach out to you personally to try to comfort themselves,
Right?
and that's a slippery slope.
Exactly. Slippery slope. And you just mentioned something too, boundaries. Got to know those boundaries. Got to know, what, I'm not their friend. I'll never be their friend. Maybe when they're older, they graduate, they got a professional career. All right, I'll have a beer with you then. But no, you can't do that. Our superintendent at my last school, we always asked him because the younger guys did. Yeah, they go, when can we talk to them? Maybe go to lunch with them because they build relationships. I mean, and not that way in any shape or form. It was because they helped them in some sort of way. And he goes, never. And I go, wow, never, ever, ever, ever? And he goes, never. It'll come back to you again. Because when did that start? It started back here. Is there a what is that called when you can come back and you can go retroactive on something? Statutes of limitations. Is there? I don't know. I mean, that's something you got to find out. Oh, I do. All right. Anything else? Any questions? Any questions? All right. I want to thank y'all. I want to thank you very much for coming to this presentation. It has been enlightening for me to go over this again, but I hope that you can take something back to your campuses or your department. Something that you saw here. Here's some references. If you want to take a picture of that, you can, and then make sure that you look at that. That's great information. This is straight from TEA, and this is something that is going out to it's part of the steps that they have to take, every educator, and they will see this again. I will see this again. And but I hope that you enjoyed it. There's a lot of questions. If you have any questions, you know my number, give me a call, but I appreciate all your time. Thank you.